Polish President Karol Nawrocki, in the presence of leaders gathered at the United Nations meeting in New York, said, Neo-imperial and neo-colonial Russia is trying to destroy the architecture of international security before our very eyes. It is breaking international law, reinforcing divisions, and striving to revive the concert of powers. Many countries present in this room are well aware of the tragedy of borders drawn by force and decisions made over the heads of nations. The main focus of the President's speech at the United Nations was the criminal policy pursued by Putin's Russia. Russia's aggression against Ukraine is not a purely regional conflict. It is a test. Will the principles on which the United Nations is based stand the test of time, or will they succumb to the weight of the imperial and colonial ambitions of a state that considers itself above the law? President Nawrocki also emphasized the need to respond to the threat to European security posed by Russia, such as provocations by Russian aircraft crossing NATO borders or drones sent over Poland by the Kremlin. A dozen or so drones deliberately violated my country's border because I can assure you that it was not an accident. It was done on the orders from the capital of a country that is a permanent member of the Security Council. As a result, for the first time since World War II, Poland was forced to open fire on hostile objects over our territory. And I assure you, as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and President of Poland, that Poland will always respond appropriately and is ready to defend its territory. Karol Nawrocki strongly emphasized the issue of responsibility for crimes, including those committed in the past by Germans in Poland during World War II, and the matter of unsettled reparations for Poland from Berlin. No war. No war can be profitable for aggressors. Wars cannot be profitable for aggressors in economic terms either. Countries and nations deserve full compensation. This includes those who started World War II. We asked the Polish Sejm for a comment on the President's speech at the United Nations. He is talking about Poland's raison d'etat, and this is very important because it is in line with the tradition of Polish speeches at the United Nations, where our historical experience, including our relations with Russia and how to respond to Russian imperialism, are discussed in skillful language. A speech definitely worthy of a statesman, which refers to the best Polish ideas of Polish tradition, both those from the distant past and those closer to home, because it was the late President Lech Kaczynski who warned most strongly against Russian imperialism in our part of Europe, in our part of the world. And this speech was certainly very strongly based on this foundation of geopolitical thought. I appreciate the President's independence in many areas, and the fact that he is simply not afraid to fight for what he believes is right. Of course, many Poles, mainly the mainstream, will not agree with this narrative. One thing is certain. President Nawrocki's speech is one of the most important speeches of this type in recent times. It was strong, it was decisive, it was pro-Polish and patriotic, and it emphasized that Poland is a strong, proud nation, and that only in alliance with the United States and other strong, free countries are we able to stand up to undemocratic, totalitarian countries. Karol Nawrocki showed that what the most important problem is today. It is, of course, the issue of security. We must take care of security, as happened in Poland and Estonia. Interestingly, the participants of the December 13th coalition also gave a positive assessment of the President's speech at the United Nations. There was even talk of exemplary cooperation between the President and the government. The President gave a very good speech and talked about all the most important issues that are currently important for Poland, and Deputy Prime Minister Radosław Sikorski gave an equally good speech. These speeches were consistent, presented Poland's raison d'etat. I have no reservations here. It is also pleasing that, together with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, they were able to represent Poland with dignity at the UN. Some people were probably hoping to see pictures of them arguing over a chair or something like that. No, there was none of that. He raised important issues in a fairly decisive and unambiguous manner, and, in computer terms, so to say, in a way that was compatible with what Minister Sikorski had said earlier. I think it is good that both President Karol Nawrocki and Deputy Prime Minister Radosław Sikorski are speaking with practically one voice at the UN Assembly, at the International Forum, acting as a team. You can see that there was also good communication between them. It is worth adding that behind the scenes at the United Nations Assembly, the president met the leader of the United States once more. President Donald Trump naturally referred to the situation in Poland and Central Europe. He told me, as he has done consistently since our first meeting and in subsequent telephone conversations, that the United Nations stands with Poland. I am very pleased with our deep, important, values-based relationship, because regardless of what Donald Tusk's government is trying to convince the public, President Karol Nawrocki has been a leader fighting for Poland's position on the international stage since the beginning of his term.